We're here with Chef Christian, and we're going to make kush.
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 Kush. Kush is North African, so like couscous made with semolina, it would have been called kush kush.
Kush kush.
But I discovered this dish because I do a little bit of, on the side, I do a little bit of 18th century food research.
Wow.
And last month was Black History Month.
Right.
So I discovered this dish, researching some of those dishes. And then it kind of tied well with St. Jude's because they're from Memphis, so a lot of low country food.
Okay.
So
Makes sense.
Kush is really, we call it here, we would call it like corn kush.
Okay.
Because it would have been made a little bit differently in North Africa. When the slaves were brought over and doing a lot of the work in the homes, they would use the leftover cornbread and then they would hash it up with onions and spices. And that would be a big staple.
Wow.
And then a lot of the research I found suggests that maybe this is what ended up in our turkeys at Thanksgiving.
All right, let's get started.
Well, let's
Stuffing.
get that in my
So-
belly then.
So we're going to have you guys start with some dicing onion. Whoever's,
Okay.
are you ready?
I've heard if you put bread in your mouth, you won't cry.
That's great.
That is
I
an
love
old
these
wives' tale.
I love old wives' tales.
And you're not that you're an
I buy
old
in.
wife.
So one of the tips with onions is to do your no fingertips kind of there, and then you're just going to do there. And it's just a rough chop. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
But we're going to chop that all up.
Look how easy you make that look.
Right. And
That
I'll
would
let
take
you
me
guys
20
get in there.
years.
Choose your size knife.
Linda, don't choke on the bread.
Okay, seriously. Okay, so I'll do
Right,
that.
careful there.
Okay,
and then
so
on
she's
this
doing
side,
it.
I'm going to have the ladies, we're going to break this cornbread up.
Okay, so they're
Just
regular
break it up.
cornbread,
Yep,
yeah.
just break it all up. So one of the other things that we learned about the past is that everyone was cooking with either beef tallow or lard, which is pork fat. So beef tallow is pork, beef fat. This is pork fat. So we have kind of this thing in our modern minds that this stuff's unhealthy. That's simply not true. It is actually way healthier than soybean oil.
Wow.
Or processed stuff.
Right, which is highly processed. So what we're going to do while we're prepping our ingredients here is we're going to add some of this to...
Wow, a lot of lard.
Yeah, a lot of lard.
Wow.
Oh my
We'll take a little-
goodness.
My parents were right about the lard.
Oh gosh.
So,
Okay,
nice
I'll
heavy...
give it
I'd ask Linda if she's got bread stuffed in her mouth, so
She
she
won't eat
can't
the
answer
bread,
me.
but she's
I'm not crying.
sucking the bread. I am crying though.
Good
The
job.
rest of us are crying
He's
laughing at
crying,
you.
I'm not. You
Can I
got
have
to
some
put
of your
bread in your
bread,
mouth.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so we're going to go in with onions first. We'll
Yes.
take some of these onions
Yep.
from these guys.
Yep.
They need to hurry up.
And we're also going to take some of these dried herbs. And Jeffrey, we can kind of strip some of these
Yep.
down and just
Yep.
break some little bits up in there.
Doesn't matter which one.
Well, I like, some of the traditional herbs would be sage, which we all would, again, back to our Thanksgiving stuffing, we'd all be pretty familiar with that one. Often ends up in Thanksgiving stuffing. I like to also, a little chef's trick, I like to add a little salt to our onions. It helps them kind of sweat and release some of their flavor while they're cooking. We'll add a
Oh
little.
my gosh, that smells good.
What did we do with the chopping?
I think we.
You guys are
Just
awesome.
looking for a
I mean,
compliment.
way better than a food processor. I mean, I'll tell you.
Well, is that a
You guys are
compliment?
like
I think
machines.
so.
And
So-
the food processor is not as funny because they are hilarious.
Or cute.
One of the other things you see in a lot of North African cuisine, is spice. So we have a little bit of dried red pepper flake.
Okay.
And that also is nice to go in the
How
beginning.
do you know how much of all these things to put in? You just-
Well, we wrote a
a
recipe and sent it here.
Oh, okay. But it's like a splash.
But a lot of it, the whole cooking thing is very visual,
Yeah.
so
And that-
it's just practice.
Right.
Like how you guys do your thing. It's just like amazing. So,
And I take the cornbread that
so
I
now,
crumpled
now
and
we
put
go
in
in with the cornbread. And then we're gonna just kind of hash that all together.
Kind of a simple recipe.
It's
isn't
very
it?
simple.
About it.
So the American stuffing would have just basically just added an egg.
Right.
And then maybe baked it up a little bit, right? Which we could do. We could convert this to stuffing
Very
very
interesting.
quickly.
So it may be the origins of our Thanksgiving stuffing, but today we're calling it kush.
Cornbread kush. Kush kush.
All right,
So we can
thank
throw a
you.
little more?
Thank you, Chef Christian. Remember, March 10th, a great foodlosophy event. It's a culinary experience to benefit St. Jude's Hospital. Jeffrey, great to have you with us
Nice
today.
to be here. So thankful to be here, Mary.
Lots of good eating. Take time, enjoy the Suncoast view.